This is his 53rd semi-final. Yes, you heard right. 53rd semi-final on the European Tour in his career. And this tournament he has had more success in than any other, because he's only been defeated twice in the tournament's history. And remember, it was the very first European Tour event as well. And in this place, he just doesn't know anything about the meaning of defeat. So will he be defeated by either Josh Rock or Johnny Clayton? You're about to find out over the next 90 minutes. It might even take less than that, Dan.
Yeah, we have Johnny Clayton, a former champion here at the Steiermark Halle, in the final already. Mighty Michael van Gerwen, the defending champion, but we also have the brightest young star in the game in the mix, the World Youth Champion Josh Rock. He's had a couple of cracks at MvG. The first in the Grand Slam in the last 16 through a 9-darter. Van Gerwen had to play astonishingly well, averaging more than 107, and even then he only won it 10 legs to 8. He had another crack at him in a Pro Tour final early this year. It is the only title that Van Gerwen has won so far in 2023. He won that game 8-4, but it was a game where Josh Rock was right there with him all the way through. It could have been a lot closer than it ended up.
The pace of this game is going to suit both, isn't it? It's going to feel a lot more comfortable for Josh Rock than what he had in the quarterfinals against Mensah Suljovic. And you just get the feeling that sometimes we talk about the standard of the game, and people ask me all the time, wasn't it really awkward? And how did you feel it playing against Phil Taylor? And I always say, I loved playing Phil. I lost most of my games against him, but I loved playing him because the rhythm of the game suited me down to the ground.
Well, and also, you've got nothing to lose. Josh Rock can lose this game. He's expected to lose this game. We may not be saying that in the months and years to come. He is on the up in the world of darts. And he's already done some astonishing things. This would be for a break of throw in the opening leg. It can still happen. On the bull.
57.
112 has got a lot of options attached. That's not one of them.
No, it certainly isn't. Well, Van Gerwen was astonishingly good against Ryan Searle in the quarterfinals. If he can summon up that sort of stuff, Josh Rock is going to find life very, very tough. Double 16 puts Rocky into the lead.
Josh Rock, second leg, Josh to throw first. Game on.
You don't need me to tell you that Michael is displeased with that start. One of the great things about having a somewhat dodgy first leg is that you are playing first to 7 here. Essentially, the task is now the same as the rest of the tournament.
100.
Michael van Gerwen, despite not being at the peak of his powers, is the reigning Premier League champion, World Match Play champion, World Grand Prix champion, and Players champion. With only one title to his name so far this year. Disappointment in the World Final.
100.
Disappointment in the UK Open Final, the hands of Andrew Gilding. And just that one Pro Tour event that he's won.
And he's still done in the last 12 months more than 99% of players.
So you're just judging by different standards.
Yeah.
96. Josh should require 164.
Hasn't really settled in this game yet, MvG. And Rock is maybe playing his trump card here. That one of, I don't have any pressure on me. I think you're right, Dan. I think if he can use that card to its maximum, he might find his way to the final. Looking good. 2-0 up. Consolidates the break. And you can't ask for more than that. Michael's record in semi-finals is outrageous. When you consider that this is his 53rd semi-final and only 5 players have beaten him in a semi-final before, and only one of them has beaten him twice. That's Kim Huybrechts. And of the players that have beaten him in a semi-final, 4 have gone on to win the title. That was Damon Heta, Luke Humphries, who beat MvG 7-0. James Wade in Hamburg. And one of the Heibrechts performances where he did go on to win. The other two being Kim Heibrechts, who ended up losing the final to Robert Thornton in Dusseldorf, and some fella who has been talking for the last 30 seconds.
Is it me? Oh, no, it's you. It's the other one, right? Yeah, okay. Well, a stuttering start from MvG, but if you just hold throw here, then the damage is not too great. However, 128 is tricky, and Josh Rock with a ton 40. He should get that from there. Do not go anywhere near them. Yeah. Wow. 3-0 with a double break incoming. Maybe.
Wow, okay. This is very confident stuff from Josh Rock. Double top. Double 10. That was not a good dart. Both have been pulled. But that one is plugged.
3-0, double break. The World Youth Champion taking the game to Michael van Gerwen in a venue where he has never lost.
59.
He's lost twice in this tournament in 11 years. 11 years! 59. Kyle Anderson beat him in 2016, and the finishing in that game was out of this world. He had 3 bullseye checkouts just to take him out. And even at that point, he hadn't lost in that tournament for 4 years. When James Richardson took him out of the very first one in Wiener Neustadt down the road. Since then, 96. He hasn't lost in the tournament. The weird thing is, and this has been a landmark weekend for me because it's my 50th commentary weekend for the PDC on the European Tour, and I'm very grateful. But that 2016 tournament in Vienna was my very first one. He hasn't lost in this tournament since then.
96.
Well, if this carries on, that streak is coming to an end. Because Michael van Gerwen is being comprehensively outplayed by Josh Rock right now.
96. Josh, you require 100.
This has got memories of Luke Humphries last year when he did win 7 legs to 0, and that was bone shaking.
You require 154.
154. It's on. Does he stay there? He does. I think it was the right shot. Would have left double 17. Couldn't find the other treble, but Josh Rock is hitting 50% of his doubles. And he gets 2. And he hits first dart. It is 4-0 Josh Rock. He is more than halfway to beating MvG.
Not a bad standard at all. Just under 97. But the thing that worries Dan and myself is that Michael is under 88. That kind of standard we have seen from Michael the best part of 2 darts in the past. Just hasn't really had any comfort from dart 1. He's been searching for scores the whole game.
And do you know what? He went into the Ryan Searle game and he hadn't been massively impressive despite dealing with John Henderson and Simon Whitlock, and he seemed pretty relaxed. He seemed pretty confident. But there have been these performances. Much better. These types of performances have crept into Van Gerwen's game over the last 2 or 3 years. They're still not happening all the time. They happen infrequently, but they happen frequently enough for him to lose a match, go out of a tournament, not win the title. Normally, by this point of the year, Michael van Gerwen has won half a dozen titles. At his best, for years, he was winning half the events. He has won 1 so far.
This is the 5th European Tour event of the year. They've been won by Gerwin Price, by Michael Smith, and Dave Chisnell. Michael doesn't have a title yet. That might still be the case at the end of the day.
Oh, hang about. What if this went? Needed the treble 17.
97.
Michael van Gerwen has only had 1 dart at double. It was that one at tops that he just missed. and he has missed his next 3. And right now, there is a genuine possibility of another MvG whitewash defeat in a semi-final. We never thought we'd see one. Luke Humphries was brilliant in beating him to 0 last year. Josh Rock is playing well, nowhere near those levels that Humphries produced, and yet the whitewash is still on.
And Chris Dobie beat Michael in the Premier League to 0 for the very first time this year. He has been done to 0 on a few occasions. We mentioned Humphries, we mentioned Dobie. Ian White beat him in a Pro Tour final 6 legs to 0.
Peter Wright has done it in a Euro Tour final.
Yeah, single thinging. Oh, what a final that was.
Well, look. Right now, Josh Rock is set to not only claim a first ever win against Michael van Gerwen, but reach a first ever Euro Tour final.
Do you remember that game where he was it 6-0 down to Darren Webster? And he still won the match, but...
The Players' Championship finals, yeah, the semis.
He had a little bit more time to work with there. This is first to 7, whereas that was...
First to 11.
First to 11, yeah.
You are never safe with Van Gerwen. And for years, it didn't matter what kind of lead. Until he hit the winning dart at double, Michael van Gerwen could come back from anywhere. But you don't have that confidence in him nowadays. He's still arguably, he's either the best player in the world, certainly in the top 3. But it is not the dominance that we've seen in years gone by.
I think that's 2 things. I don't think Michael is as good as he was in around 2017. But I think everybody else is a little bit better.
And this young man, Josh Rock, is one of the best. Double 16. He has missed all 6 of his darts at double, and Michael van Gerwen, the world number 3, must be getting a sinking feeling. Because he is sinking without trace.
Josh has got double top on the end of a string. Doubles have been excellent. 6 hits from 9. And over the last few legs, he just hasn't missed one.
17 darters is what Josh Rock is trading in primarily in this game. That was not good enough for Ryan Searle in the quarterfinals. 12 darters wouldn't have been good enough for Ryan Searle at times in the quarterfinals. But this is chalk and cheese from Van Gerwen, who is still averaging 86.
How many straight games has he won in this venue? Is it 13?
13 matches. Every single one of them won. That is coming to an end.
59.
I have to agree. I've saved saying that until this point. But if you look at what Rock is doing from this position, he is not looking back.
Josh Rock gives it the big one with the 180. The finishing line is in sight. A 170 from Michael van Gerwen. Is it just a parting gift? 9 off, leaves 88. Treble 16.
Wrong treble twice. 67 left.
47.
If Van Gerwen hits this, it'll be an interesting reaction. Double top. He can't find a double. He's missed 8 in the match, and Rock is on the cusp of being the first man to beat Van Gerwen in Graz.
It's never been done before. But he's just been beaten to 0. Josh Rock almost can't believe it. His first win against Van Gerwen, and he has hammered it. And he is through to his first European Tour final. This sensational 22-year-old will take on Johnny Clayton, a former champion here at the Steiermark Halle, as MvG's perfect, unbeaten run here is brought to a shattering end.